Howdy.
Yo,
Episode 42 of Cool Range
42.
Quarter.
Oh
Going on with
boy.
you, Chris?
So, I started playing Skyrim again, and I learned that my mouse is probably gonna die soon. So when I click, it like does this weird thing where it like clicks twice for some reason. Like I don't know if the button's broken or what, but I'm probably gonna have to get a new mouse soon.
Yeah, Chris was talking about it, and I recommended the Glorious Model O. That's what I've been using. I got the glossy black version, and it's just so comfortable in my hand. And like, I thought I liked heavy mice, heavy mice
I think it's actually mouses for computers.
went for computers.
Yeah.
I had the same mouse that Chris has, and then when I switched to the Glorious Model O, I was like, what have I been missing my whole life? Because I like the effortlessness of moving this mouse, whereas with the Corsair one, I actually had to like lift it up and stuff when I was gaming. This I like almost forget it's in my hand, and I don't know. There's something about the way that it's like more similar to like a typical computer mouse instead of like these weird like
Claw
I don't know. Like
designs.
the Corsair mouse that you have is a fat boy, man.
Yep.
That is a fat. Look at that.
Yep.
Like look at the difference, bro. Like it's. I almost thought I almost think that mouse was just like too big for my hand. Honestly.
I don't know. I mean,
But
because I like when there's weight, and I think it's mainly because like it it helps me
let me
be a little
see.
bit more like accurate when I'm aiming because I'm not just like flicking left and right. Like I
Let
think
me
that
see
if
you can add weight.
I'm sure you can, but I don't know if it's because is that thing mostly made of plastic or is it metal?
It feels plastic.
Because I think this is metal, like the
Yeah, I think
actual
that's why it's so heavy.
yeah. I don't know
They
if it's
have
aluminum or
wired and
what.
wireless versions. It looks like the wired versions are $65 unless you get like the crazy pro series, but
Hmm.
standard glorious model O is
Well, does it have does it have side buttons on it?
yes, it does.
How many does it have? Just two or what?
Yeah, it's just the two.
Okay.
But then it also has a middle one under the mouse wheel. I'm checking to see if you can put weights on it, and I'm not seeing anything.
Well,
So
therefore,
they have different weights. You can like choose a different weight, basically.
oh yeah,
But
I don't know. We'll see. I also
anyways,
I
I
wa
recommend it.
I
You could
wasn't a
always return
huge
it.
yeah I wasn't a huge fan of so when I worked at Best Buy, I was like there's times people would ask about accessories and stuff like that, right? And so
Yeah.
I would bring up yeah like I have this keyboard and then I have this mouse, but they actually got rid of the model of mouse that I have and they replaced it with like a newer one and the buttons are way different. Like they feel a lot more plasticky and like it's just I don't like it. But I haven't used it on a daily basis, so I don't know if it's actually good. But I just know it's different from how mine is now, which I'm not sure if I'll get the same one, but I need new ones
Yeah.
soon.
I would
So
I would definitely recommend checking this one out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. I was skeptical at first, honestly.
I'll
People
look into
talk so
it.
highly of it, but um, I'm drinking some cherry limeade. So good. Uh, and we got some G Fuel giveaways for the month to announce. I will announce that during the ad break. Also got a little secret giveaway that I did in the Discord, so we'll see that too. But my wife took the kids and she just upped and left.
Jesus
Went to
Christ!
Cali. I know the way I say it is like she like we're getting a divorce.
My
No,
wife took the kids.
yeah, she took the kids.
Oh
My wife
Lord.
just left me. No. So she took the kids, went to California to visit family. I stayed behind because I got like work stuff going on, and I really didn't feel like traveling anyway. So I was like, yeah, go visit, get away from me and all my content nonsense for a couple of days. That'll be nice. But it was funny because she was also like, well, you need to like rest too, and I'm like, I feel like when I don't do something, like not doing anything just makes me feel like a bum, and I don't like feeling like a bum. But I have two doctor's appointments the day that they get back, because they get back like later in like the evening. And she's like, I'm scheduling you a massage. And I was like, I've never had a massage before. That's weird. Like some guy's gonna rub up on me. And she's like, well, it could be a girl. And I'm like, all right, I guess. But still, I feel
That's
weird. Like you
still,
like walk
yeah,
into this room and get naked, and I don't know.
yeah.
It's that'll be an interesting. I'll report back next week how my first massage
I don't know.
went.
I
But
almost feel like
only
it.
like $50.
I feel like it could be worse if it was a girl, because then it's just like,
I don't know, man.
well,
It's personal
it's
preference. I just don't. I don't want some guy rubbing on
yeah,
me.
but
You know, like,
it's like when you go to the doctor and
oh,
they
you're
like
tense.
and they check your nuts, right? Like, would you like I me personally, I'm almost more
That's
comfortable.
different. That's
It,
different.
is it though? Because you're
It is different
how is it different? Because you're talking about somebody like you're
because you're
butt
talking
naked.
about somebody touching a sensitive area. Okay, you're not going to a massage and it's like, all right, first thing, I'm gonna cup the balls. That's not. That's not what they're doing,
Do
man.
you get my perspective though, or no?
I guess it sounds to me like Chris wants a dude to rub him.
I don't want anybody to rub on me, dude. But if I had to choose,
I hear so many people say that like full body massages are like one of the best things you can do for stress relief, because you don't realize how tense your muscles are all day. Like you're holding like you're just building up stress, bro. And you go in there and it's just like relax. Can you imagine going there and they like slap you in the back of the head?
well,
Relax.
you know, at work, so for the assemblers especially, what they do is if you're noticing that you're getting a lot of like strain in a specific muscle or whatever, you can actually go and schedule a massage to happen while you're at work, like during your shift, and you get paid for it. It's pretty
Damn, bro.
cool.
I'd be like, oh gosh, like, oh, every other day. It's
Well,
like,
so there's a guy in my area who he I think goes every like 2 weeks or something like that. So,
that's
uh,
what's up.
yeah,
That would be me.
it's pretty cool. It's there's a lot of lore behind it, but yeah. So, um, he really enjoys it, as you would, you know. But I just
Yeah,
think it's cool that you still get paid for it, and it's on site and
yeah,
everything. It's really cool.
that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Well, to move on to our hot topic of the week, literally right after the podcast last week, there was an assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump's life.
So
That
I
was nuts, man.
I was like about to take a nap, right? Like I was like, you know, like I'm pretty tired. Like my schedule's kind of jacked up. I only woke up so that I could do the podcast and go back to sleep, right? And as I'm getting ready to go to sleep, I check my phone. I pull up Twitter, and I'm like, oh no, this is 1 minute ago. Shots fired at Trump rally, and I was like,
Well, I got like a CNN notification. It was like Trump falls at rally and has to be escorted off stage. That's what it said, and I was
yeah,
like, what?
yeah. Well, and
And
that's the
then
thing.
you texted me, you're like, yo, they shot Trump, and I was like, what? What is going
Yeah.
on?
So that's what's crazy about it is like the way that different news sources handled the actual story. It's like, nah, dude, he got shot. People were like, yeah, he fell. He got scared
Yeah,
by loud noises, this and that. And I'm like, dude, are
yeah.
we really doing
Popping
this?
sounds were heard.
Yeah,
I'm like, you
popping
mean
says. Well, and that's
gunshots?
the thing. At first, it was just like people were like, "Yeah, there were shots fired." And I'm like, "Okay, that could mean anything." And then I think it took about 10 minutes before they finally were like, "Yeah, he got shot." I was like, "Where? Like, where did he
Dude,
get shot?"
so I was actually doing the weekly gaming session in the Discord, which you should join, by the way. It's been a blast. I literally just did the session before this, and there was four of us in there. We played a couple matches of Fortnite, and then we played a little bit of Warzone and some gunfight. And like Tommy was at work. Tommy Slays, he's a big supporter. Been a supporter for a long time. He was like at work, like cooking food and stuff, just like hanging out, talking while we were gaming. It was fun. And Cal was in there. He's in Canada. Aiden, it's been a really fun time gaming with you, man. This next week they're dropping a new Call of Duty season, so probably gonna check that out. But It's $3 to join that tier, guys, and I mean it is so tight knit in there right now. I think there's like 12 people total, and it's. I mean, we're always like, "Hey, how's your day going?" "Oh, good." And like people are like, "Look what I just ate, like just destroyed this cheeseburger." And I'm like, "Oh, like, and they're just, it's fun, man. And as you'll see later on, I've been planning some secret giveaways just for the Discord. So you should really go in there, man. Those giveaways are open to anybody who joins. So if you just want to join the Discord to like hang out and chat, that is $1. If you want to game with us, it's $3. And I do that so that we don't have 20 people trying to game right away. You know what I mean? Like it's that was the hardest thing for me when I was streaming. Is there was always people complaining, I never get to play with you, and I'm like, well, if you're gonna whine about it, then I don't want to play. But ain't no whiners in here, man. We've been having some good times these past 2 weeks, so join up for next time. And when the Black Ops, we were already talking about it. When the Black Ops 6 beta drops, we're definitely gonna be in
Yeah.
there.
So and
So Chris is
that's
probably gonna be in there too.
that's what, end of August for the closed
I'm
beta?
looking it up.
I think it's end of August for the closed beta, and then beginning of September for the open beta.
Early
Um,
access for all platforms. Friday, August 30th, 10 a.m. Pacific to Wednesday, September 4th at 10 p.m. 10 a.m. So, like what, 5 days? And then
yeah.
open beta for all platforms, September 6th to September 9th. So, and usually, I've noticed with Call of Duty, the second round of the beta, where it's open for everybody, they will actually, um, they usually like increase the level you can get to. Like they add some stuff, you
Yeah,
know.
that, and
So,
then I think your doesn't your progress actually carry over?
I don't think so.
I think I've heard of that happening before. Or maybe I'm thinking of a different game, but I swear I remember that being a thing a while
Usually,
back.
usually you get like special calling cards and stuff like that that you can unlock. So
Yeah. Okay. Um,
yeah, but yeah, definitely join in. Anyways, back to the Trump assassination thing, dude. I don't know. There's a lot of details about it, and I've been hearing Joe Rogan talk to several different guests about this. The way it was handled by Secret Service is, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like there was literally guys in that building that guy was on top of. Like how?
so they could
Yeah.
have just like, and then like, if
Well,
they really
it's
wanted
not even
to.
that, just like nobody was paying attention to what was going on outside that building.
They were.
Like a guy literally brought a ladder, climbed up there with a rangefinder and a rifle, and prone like he's in Call of Duty, just like inched his way up, and then fired off three shots, two shots,
I
it's
thought it
three
was
shots,
I thought it
right?
was 5 shots.
Well, the crazy thing is that the way that like, I mean, I've seen these like situations where there's assassination attempts, whatever, in other countries, and like, I mean, it's like there's one shot and boom, that guy's dead. Like the response from snipers is usually like instantaneous,
Yeah.
and it seemed like they really waited, like almost like, I'm not saying conspiracy, okay, but if it was a setup, it looked a little bit like they gave him enough time to get a couple of shots off.
Well, and I don't know. I don't want to go straight into like the conspiracy route, which is very rare for me. But here's my thing, right? Really, what it is the people who were there were just either very like incompetent, or they were like, hey, I don't want to start shooting people right now. Like
Yeah.
they didn't want to like start a huge thing, but it's like,
Did you see the water tower footage?
no, but I know there was a cop that like climbed up a ladder to go and get the shooter, and then he got scared and then like fell.
Well, I don't know why the people who saw him didn't. Like, I would have like started picking up rocks and throwing it and shit.
Well,
Like,
so somebody brought up that they were like, "Oh, well, why didn't any people in the crowd start shooting at the shooter?" And it's like, well, because
yeah,
then,
no, that's crazy.
yeah, I was like, then that person who's shooting at the shooter would have gotten shot. So I don't know. And I mean, people were pointing it out though, and like there's footage of them being like, "Hey, there's somebody up there. Like, is somebody gonna do something about it?" But I don't know. I think it's one of those things where we'll never know exactly what went down. I just know the biggest problem was that like whoever was picked for that day was not the right choice. Like they chose the
Yeah.
wrong people for the Secret Service detail
Well,
that
I mean,
day.
of course they like try to make it political. They're like, oh, he was a registered this, a registered that, and blah blah blah.
Which is this whole
I
other
thought I
thing.
saw that he was. I thought I saw that he was like, and I don't pay a lot of attention to politics, so I don't. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I thought I saw that he was like he tried to buy a rifle or something like that and was denied at one point. I don't know, but the other things that were kind of weird to me is there's footage going around from different angles of this water tower that's in the line of sight, and like they zoom in and you can see that there's somebody on top of it, and they like duck in and out during the shots, and then there's footage. I saw some news footage where they were interviewing people, and some people said that somebody was killed at the water tower, but then that footage was not like
I
ran
don't know.
everywhere. So I don't know, man. The whole thing is weird. It doesn't make sense to me that the Secret Service wouldn't have had that shit locked down. It's become a meme where they're like, "Oh, well, the roof was slanted, so it was like really hard to get up on top of," and people are like posting like pictures of cows on top of roofs that look like peaks. You
Yeah.
know, like, come on, bro. Like, if this punk ass kid was able to just grab a ladder and crawl up there like that, I'm pretty sure they could have had somebody
Well,
up there.
and see, that's the other thing. So with this kid, he was 20, dude. Like
Yeah,
this is a young kid, and it's like
and you can buy a rifle at 18, I believe.
yeah, and
So
so it's clearly the kid had something going on. Like I think they even
yeah,
said
we don't know.
they checked his phone and he was I think he had been looking up stuff about like what was it like just like depression or something like that.
That he was looking up. I saw a couple things. It was that he was looking up like stuff about depression. He was looking up. He was looking up next events for both candidates, not just Trump. Like
Yeah.
they think maybe Trump just happened to be the one that was doing something first, and it was close enough to him. I mean, we really don't know. We don't know where he. I don't know where he came from. I don't know if he lived in Pennsylvania.
Well, and see, so
And they also said the last thing he looked up was some porn.
yeah, I did see that too, and people were like, "What kind? What kind? What
The hell?
genre?"
I mean, don't get me wrong. This is not a funny topic, but I think the craziest thing about it is that you can go watch the footage, and they have all kinds of like different angles and stuff, and you can see that. I mean, he was literally like the shot was lined up, and he just happened to tilt his head to look at that damn graph or whatever it was on that big billboard, and so it grazed his ear. And I've seen people talking about, oh, the bandage is too crazy. I saw some medical people talking about how like that's definitely how it would be bandaged if you had something like that. And not only that, the idea that I'm hearing is that the reason why they also bandaged it like that, like it looks so huge, is because they're trying to make sure that you can't see it on TV because it's graphic. You know, like
Oh,
yeah, like I don't know how people aren't like just putting two and two together. Like,
that's well, yeah, that makes sense.
obviously they're gonna cover up his wound really well so that it's not just there in these close-ups
Yeah,
because he's
it's
campaigning right
his
now.
ear just hanging
Yeah,
off.
it's not that bad.
I
From
know.
what
I'm just like,
from what I'm
ugh.
told, it's literally like it didn't like go through his ear. It literally like just tore it a little bit. Kind of like what happened to me when I was a kid. You remember when I like I was playing basketball and there was sand on the concrete and I slipped and hit a glass table and the glass table
Oh,
broke and sliced my ear like the edge of a piece of paper. Like it was just torn like paper.
I
And
hate that.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened to him, but it hit like the side.
Well,
Um,
here's the thing though. So I think it's interesting how it all went down because as you mentioned earlier, like he was looking up both candidates, the shooter,
yeah,
right? And so it's like whether this guy was against one side or not, whichever side he was going to attack, he was actually helping because then people were like, oh my God, look how awful the other side is. Like they're resorting to violence, right? And that bandage thing is almost like a symbol because of that. Because people look at that
Yeah,
like I know I saw a thing where it was like a bunch of people who were at a rally were all showing up with the bandage on, and it's like, wow, okay, like people are really taking this as like a call to action to be like, hey, make sure that you're showing support for our side and stuff like that. And it's like, dang man, like imagine if it had been the other way around and he had shot the current
yeah.
president. That would have been a whole different thing.
I can't imagine what it's like to be in another country like right now, like Europe or Canada or whatever, and like watching the U.S. and their political climate and how like it's so crazy right now. And as we get closer to November, it just seems like it's just more and more heated.
Well,
I'm seeing arguments all over the internet. Like I scrolled through TikTok and like half of the lives are just like, um, uh, Trump is better than Biden. Like, uh,
yeah. Uh,
uh, tell me different or whatever, you know. And it's just people are like making money off of it, you know.
well, so
It's wild to me.
it's it feels very like 2020 right now, where like people
Yeah,
are like super political, and it's like anywhere you go, there's just a political conversation happening, whether it's just as simple as like Biden's old. Oh, well, so is Trump. Or if it could be as complicated as the whole situation with the assassination attempt, where like people are getting into, hey, like
yeah.
what went wrong and this and that. Um, and I mean, like
I
it's good to have that discourse, but also I feel like it's gonna start getting sour soon.
well, I see so many people arguing and like it's not educated arguments. It's
It's
just
not.
he said, she said, I heard this and that, and like what I think what it really does is just show how out of touch we are with like facts. You know what I mean? And you know, I guess we could just transition into the news story for this week. But right now, and I mean, they're saying it could be announced as soon as tonight.
Yeah.
Right now, they're saying that Biden is most likely going to be stepping down, and Kamala Harris. I don't know if that's how you say her name.
Is it
I
Kamala?
don't know if it's Kamala or Kamala, but she's supposed to be replacing him on
Which is like an
the
awful
ballot.
idea.
I just I hate talking about politics, but this is what's going on right now, and we're not like, oh, we're taking this side and this and that. But I personally don't know how I feel about considering this Kamala Harris candidate when like I really don't know anything about her.
Yeah,
It's
well,
just being thrown on there last
that's
minute.
exactly why I'm saying it's an awful idea, because it's like everything that I've heard about her, it's like her history is like a cop or something like that, and then
I
people
know
get
she
weird
pissed
about
off a
that.
lot of people in California.
Yeah, and then of course, yeah, like we barely even see her, whether that's on purpose or not. I really don't know.
I don't know.
But like the thing that I kept saying is I was like, okay, like if if Biden drops out, does that make people more likely to vote for that party? Or are they like, well, whoever's running is no longer an incumbent, so I'm not going to vote? Because, like, people vote for the name that's familiar, and people aren't hearing Kamala Harris's name very much.
I'm really not hearing anybody really talk about her. That's what's crazy. Like I
Yeah.
don't know anything about her.
Well,
Like I said, the only thing I've heard over and over again is that I hear two things. I hear her compared to Hillary Clinton a lot, and I hear
Ooh.
that she did some stuff in California that really rubbed people the wrong way. It had to do with like people going to jail for marijuana or something like
Well,
that.
so what I think is interesting is people keep bringing up, oh, what about Michelle Obama? Like, what if she ran?
She already said she's not. Yeah, she's like, I don't want nothing to
That's
do
the
with it.
one scenario where I could actually see them recovering, though. Like, they might actually
Yeah.
still win.
What if Bernie just shows up out of nowhere? Once again,
Dude,
I'm calling for your
I brought that up. I brought that up at work, and they were like, yeah, I don't know, because we were talking about it at lunch. They were like, yeah, I don't know, like, it Bernie's
Feel the
also
burn.
old. Bernie is old, and I'm like, yeah, but he still talks like a person, you know.
Yeah,
So
was he on Joe Rogan at one point? I don't
yeah,
remember.
he was actually.
Yeah, I remember, and I was like, huh, he's like He
he's just
he,
like, kind of a
he seems like he's fully there.
yeah. It's just that
I mean,
he's old, so it's like he has a funny way of talking, but he talks.
I've definitely been watching some clips from interviews this last like 2 weeks of Joe Biden, and
It's
he's
getting
literally
rough.
trying to argue that he's fine and like stumbling through his
Well,
words,
and
and
now
just like, ugh.
now he has doesn't isn't he sick?
Yeah, yeah, he got the Rona.
Hmm.
Yeah. And did you
Yeah.
see that he like they tweeted like he was like I'm sick, and then he was like
Yeah.
of Elon and Trump or something like
Yeah.
that like an hour later.
Yeah.
I was like,
And
what?
yeah, which, oh,
The
dude.
intern is like, oh, this is a
Well,
good
so
idea.
I saw one where I was like, dude, are you serious? And so
Clickbaiting, bro.
yeah, whatever intern or interns are running Joe Biden's Twitter account, like,
It's
I
wild.
think they don't understand how to write with a specific voice, like from a certain person's perspective. It's like I get what they're doing, but I
It's
found
Chat
it.
GPT. It's
Oh,
Chat
so
GPT running it.
I'm stuck at home with Rona, so I had the distinct misfortune of watching Donald Trump's speech to the RNC. What the hell was he talking about? Is what they tweeted on his account, and I'm like, dude, you're
We
speaking for the
know that's not.
president.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
know
dude.
that's not like.
And there
I,
was a whole thread under it where he like well the intern is the one that's dissecting the whole RNC event, but it's like, man, like, we know he's not typing that, and it's
yeah,
fine. Like, that's fine, but it's also like, at a certain
I
point, you gotta just like, you're just lying. Like, I don't like
yeah.
that. Like, that's what I think. I think
Honestly, I'm ready to move on from politics this episode. If you
I
are,
yeah,
I'm so sick of it,
I'm
man.
I'm
I wish our country wasn't so
I'm frustrated.
heated about it. It's so frustrating, man. We like. I think the number one thing I've learned this election cycle so far, is that we need a fucking limit on the age that you could be president, bro. It should be
Yeah.
like 65. It should be retirement age.
Yes.
Because this
Yeah.
is ridiculous. Like Joe Biden should be, he should be spending the last couple of years that he knows who the hell he is, like with family and shit, not trying to run the country.
Yeah.
That's it's like elderly abuse at this point.
Yeah, and
Sad. It generally makes me sad.
I hope that it was still like his choice to run, but without going any further, I'm a little worried that it's
Okay. The
not.
last thing I'll say is it legitimately to me feels like right now, when like watching him talk about like I'm still running and stuff like that. It's like when they threaten to take your driver's license because like you're literally getting into accidents and stuff like that. You know, it's just like I could still drive. And it's like
I mean,
no,
you're
bro. Like
right. Yeah.
every day it's a fender bender, bro.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about that at work as well, and it's just, I don't know, like, I'm not old, so I don't know what it's like to have to
Yeah,
like hold on to that, but I think it's like it's a way to keep your purpose, and it's like when you get to that point in politics, it's like, what else do you do?
they got. I mean, you've seen it that like some of these office positions or whatever you call them, these government elected officials, they're literally in wheelchairs and shit.
Who was the one that died
Like
recently? Was
that old lady,
yeah,
right? It was like an
Feinstein or
old
something like
lady.
that? It's like,
She like I don't even know. I don't think I ever saw her talk. She was just being wheeled around. And it's like,
yeah.
yeah, she's an elected official.
It
It's
was
like,
it was like straight up Weekend at Bernie's, dude. Like, no joke. Like,
yeah,
that's straight up what it
really
was.
sad. Yeah, we need better age limits, man. But anyways, to move on, before we do the ad break, the one thing that I'm really hoping for these next 4 years, whatever happens, is for the housing market to improve. I was looking at the numbers from last year because more information's come out. For people who maybe don't remember, or I don't know, maybe you weren't watching when I was going through this process, but we tried to buy a house this last year, and there were not a lot of houses to choose from, and like the interest rates were crazy. They kept changing the stuff with the VA loan because like it seemed like they were really trying to make sure we couldn't get it because it was just like the timing was just bad for everything. And it turns out from the data that came out, last year was the all-time record low for the amount of houses on the market.
Oh,
There's usually about 2 to 3% of the houses in the country on the market for sale, and there was less than 1% last year. So we literally tried to buy a house at the worst time in history to buy a house since they started recording this shit in like the 60s. So I do not feel bad about not getting a house anymore. I'm gonna be honest, like because this is personal and real talk. I felt honestly, I felt a little down after not being able to get a house. I felt like I failed my family. But then Bobby was like, I just think it's not the right time. I think it's just like life's way of telling us like to wait a little longer. Like we'll get because she was like looking back, like it was like, oh, we want this house. Oh, somebody from California came and just dropped like, they put like 50% down. Or uh the two people, right? Two people, us and two other people were both putting a bid on the house, and they went with somebody else because we were self-employed.
hmm.
Weird stuff, man. And so like now I look, the houses that are coming on the market are beautiful, man. They actually have backyards with like I could see us doing barbecues and inviting people over for like cookouts and like just I'm just like, dude, if we got the house that we did that we were looking at, I don't think we would have been happy with it, to be honest. It was a 1 story, and most of these houses are 2 stories, so that it has more room for a backyard and stuff, and nicer neighborhoods, and the price is better. Like the price of the houses has gone down a little bit. Like a house that was like maybe 375 last year is closer to like 350 now. And so I'm hoping, like when we do look for a house again in like a year and a half, 2 years, like they'll just be even more, and maybe the interest rates will be a little better. Who knows? I mean, it really does depend. I hear a lot of people say that if Trump gets elected, then the housing market will probably improve because that's something he cares more about. But who knows? You know what I mean? I don't know enough about the housing market and how it works to know like whether one candidate or the other really has much of an effect on it. But I hope it improves. Of course, like countrywide, but at the same time, it also depends on where you live, and I think Albuquerque was just experiencing like a really weird thing too. Like there just was no houses on the market, but yeah,
Yeah, I
so
don't know because I
crazy to
know
me.
um like we kind of joke about it where it's like, oh, we're never gonna be able to buy a house because the market's just so bad, but it's like I do genuinely think like at some point, yeah, I need to get a house. I'm not gonna get one here in Arizona, but um it's like I don't know the point at which I will be like, yeah, I can afford this because it really does seem like everything's overpriced right now. Like literally everything,
Yeah, and
especially
it's cooled
houses.
down a little, but I mean it's gonna be an interesting couple of years, man. I think this country is going through a lot of change right now, and it's not just political and stuff, but it's also like just how the world is right now. Technology is evolving so rapidly right now, especially with AI. AI is completely changing like everything.
I
Like
disagree.
I'm seeing AI be used for things that I didn't even think about, man.
I think AI is like a kind of an overrated thing. Like I think it's useful, absolutely, but I also think like people think it does more than it actually does.
Well, I think people are using it to fill jobs. I really do. For like
What
stuff that's
jobs?
monotonous. A lot of office stuff, like just plugging numbers and stuff.
I mean, you can just write a program that does that, though. You don't. Well, let's talk about like neural networks, but that's not. Well,
Well, the other thing is like the new iPhone that's coming out is supposed to have Apple Intelligence, which is like their own version of Chat GPT. So I
I
really
thought.
think everything's
I
changing.
don't. I don't think that's true either. I remember reading a story about ChatGPT like actually partnering with Apple.
What is Apple Intelligence?
Yeah, I think ChatGPT is what's actually being used.
Apple Intelligence helps you write, express yourself, and get things done effortlessly, all while setting a brand new standard for privacy in AI.
Let me see. Is
Is
Apple
Apple Intelligence ChatGPT? Apple is integrating ChatGPT access into experiences with iOS. Yeah, so it's like Chat GPT, and then they like add their own Apple shit to it, like Siri and stuff.
Yeah, all those
Um,
series of. Every
but
time I hear.
I'm just saying, like, if it's gonna be implemented into phones, like it's just standard, like I don't know, man. I think we're gonna see some wild stuff. People are gonna be like, oh, I figured out how to do this. And it's like,
Well, there's a ChatGPT app you can download. But here's the thing. Whenever I hear Siri, you know what I think of?
what?
That video where the guy's like paramotoring and he falls.
Oh, Siri, call 911.
Siri, call 911.
Oh.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, sorry.
Siri, call 911.
The nearest McDonald's is Siri.
Oh,
Dude, that's a good. Okay, before we transition, we got to do the ad break, guys. If you are watching this and you want to, and you're not watching this on Patreon, you can get 24-hour early access to these episodes for as little as $1 a month. You can also get access to our gaming sessions and our private Discord by subscribing to the Patreon. We are going to announce these giveaway winners here in a second, but I'm doing special giveaways that you can only access through the Patreon. A giveaway every once in a while that you can only access through the Discord. And again, you can only access these things through the Patreon. If you sign up for a year in advance, you get like 10% off, which is cool. I just saw that. But it's a way to support the podcast if you want it to keep going, which, I mean, I plan on keeping it going either way, but your support means a lot. It allows us to continue doing this and fit it into our schedule, and like it allows us basically to pay Chris for his time, because he's the one who puts all this together, because I have so much other stuff going on. I have a family and shit. So thank you, Chris. Support us by supporting the Patreon, and also use G Fuel code Danny D. If you're watching this within the first 24 hours that it drops on YouTube, the Ghost Face G Fuel flavor, that I believe is cherry green apple,
that sounds right.
order with the collector's box that gets you either the stainless steel shaker or the plastic shaker, and the energy tub or the hydration tub in a collector's box. And what they've been saying on like the Twitter and everything, G Fuel has been saying this, is that once the pre-order is gone, I think that's your last chance to get those shakers. They're just going to be selling the tub after that. So if you want that, because I don't tell my wife, but I caved and got them last night, because they extended the pre-order due to high demand. Like it literally said, like, if you ordered after this date, it's shipping in October now. So like it's selling like hotcakes, and get you some, baby. All right. And then let's announce the giveaway winners. So the rules for the giveaway is you literally just have to enter through the Patreon or the Discord for the special Discord secret giveaways, I call it. There's like a little secret chat in there where you can enter some secret giveaways. But the only rules are really, if the US one, there's a US only giveaway for $5. Every month I'm giving away something GFO related, whether it's a collector's box, a tub and a shaker. You never know. I'm going to be changing it up. For the US only one, you can only be in the US, and the winner for that one is our boy Tyler Moen. He won the Blue Ice Tub. So Tyler, I'll be sending this out. Tyler has been one of our biggest supporters for the longest time. So when I brought up the little giveaway generator and his name popped up right away, I was like, yeah, that's a good first giveaway there. So Tyler, once my wife gets back, we're gonna get this sent out to you. All right, buddy. And then there is a international giveaway, because people have said, why don't you give it away to people all over the world? I don't live in the US. Well, for $10 a month, you can enter into that. And right now, only one person entered. Cal, my boy in Canada, another big supporter of ours, won the Fruit Punch Tub. And you can only win once every 2 months to keep it fair for right now. That might change in the future, but for right now, once every 2 months. So literally, if one other person enters into the international giveaway next month, that one person's probably going to be the winner. Just saying. So if you want a tub of G Fuel, somebody join that international giveaway next month. $5, or sorry, $10 for the international one, because shipping is crazy. I think this is going to cost like $25 to ship out. But anyways, got that going. And then the secret giveaway in the Discord, this is accessible to anybody who subscribes for $1 or more. I have a huge stack of Blu-rays and stuff that I get that either I'm letting go of because they are available in 4K now, or they came in PR boxes. And so this month, and I know we'll be giving away different stuff, but right now, Blu-rays is what it's looking like. This month, I decided to give away this copy of the Super Mario Bros. Movie on Blu-ray and DVD that was sent to us. And so Tommy Slays, my boy Tommy, another big time supporter, you won the Super Mario Bros. Movie on Blu-ray. So I will get that sent out to you when my wife is back as well. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna be doing this around the 15th every month. So if you want a chance at winning some stuff like this, um, I have so many tubs of G Fuel. I have so many like shakers and all kinds of stuff. I mean, you're just gonna have to join to see what it is, but it'll always be at least a tub. I was thinking about giving away like a hydration tub and a shaker. Like you just never know, man. So don't miss out. Um, Join some giveaways, and yeah, I think we spent enough time on that. Sorry, it's the first time doing it, so trying to be thorough. But congratulations to our winners. I will be in touch through either Discord or Patreon DMs. Get the information to send it out to you. If I don't have it already, because I think Patreon has it where like to join you have to have that info already. But we'll figure it out. Anyways, thank you for joining the giveaway, guys. Thank you for supporting the Patreon. I look forward to doing this every month. Next, we wanted to talk about a topic that got pushed from last week because we got lost in the weeds on something. But anyways, I've seen so many things lately, and my own experience has been really bad with food delivery apps. I think food delivery apps are one of those new things that came along in the last 10 years that is just awful. I don't know how they haven't made it better at this point.
Well, I don't hate food delivery apps. I just think that the experience is so inconsistent because there was
Yeah.
a time I have so many food delivery app stories where like I remember one time I ordered Arby's because I had figured out the chicken strips are like super cheap and I was like, well, I don't want to drive all the way over there though. I ordered Arby's and I remember it got delivered and it straight up like the bag smelled like gasoline.
What the
Yeah,
Yeah, what did somebody put that shit on their motorcycle?
I guess, but
Their dirt bike right
it
next to the
smelled
exhaust.
it smelled awful, and I remember I was like, I don't even know if I could eat this. So I was like, I'm just not gonna risk it.
I my bag it looks and smells like it's covered in gasoline. That's
It smelled like it was the smell was so strong. I was like, what happened here?
some Arby's chicken tenders with the side of ethanol.
Well, because like, how does that happen? I genuinely think somebody put it on their motorcycle or something like that.
Maybe.
I
But
had
every time I've ordered food from a delivery app, I'm always like, God damn, shouldn't I just go get it? Like, it's an extra $10 or whatever just
yeah.
because I'm ordering it.
Well,
They upcharge the food and it always shows up cold for me. I don't think I've ever had it show up warm
It's showed
still.
up hot for me a few times, but so one time this guy delivers. This isn't a bad thing. What I'm gonna say right now, this isn't a bad thing. I think it was hilarious. I was just like, wow, what like does this guy do this all the time? So I won't say the name, but I had ordered food, and he he posts or he sends the picture of him with the food by the door, and it says notes from delivery person on the third floor, as high up as I could put it, so my ex-wife and especially my ex-best friend couldn't grab it, especially him. He meddles with what isn't his. He like was schizo ranting about like his ex-wife and his
Well,
ex-best friend. And this was at my old apartment, and I was like, yeah, I'm not ordering stuff anymore.
well, dude, I have you ever like I've literally had it's happened to me a couple of times where I order the food and it's like your food will be delivered in 45 minutes and I'm like, damn, I'm hungry. Like, come on, get here sooner, like.
Yeah.
And then like it's like your delivery driver is 5 minutes away, and then they cancel the order, and
I've
I'm
never
like,
had that happen.
they took my food, bro. They 100% took my food. Like you get refunded, but they just took my order,
Yeah. Yeah, well,
and I don't know if they just get the meal for free. Like they just say, oh, I couldn't, like I had issues with the delivery. But that's happened to me at least 2 or 3 times. Where like I'm like, oh, my food's gonna be here in 5 minutes, and they canceled.
I don't know if I heard it from Joe Rogan or if it was something else, but I remember maybe I don't remember what it was, but I remember what I had heard was there's actual like TikToks of people who are doing like Uber Eats or DoorDash or whatever, and they will get an order from McDonald's, for example, right?
Hmm.
And they will bring like rolls of the tape that they use to close up the bags, and then they will take stuff out of the bag. So they'll have to rip the tape for that. They'll take stuff out of the bag and then close the bag back up with this roll of McDonald's tape, and then deliver the food anyways. So
Well,
it's
because when I was in San Francisco, I remember one time I had what it was. It was a burger place. Maybe it was In and Out. I had this In and Out delivered, and I was like, bro, where's half my fries are like not. I think they ate half my fries, like just straight up.
well, I don't know, because I think with
This
the
is before the tape stuff,
yeah
you know?
with the tape, it's a little bit more unlikely for that to happen. But like, um, I don't know, like I don't trust them to not touch my food anymore. And it's one of the nice things with my current apartment. It's like I've been a lot less incentivized to order food because of the way that it's set up. But like, yeah, I used to be like a an Uber Eats fiend, and they would always give you like free deals. I mean, dude, ordering groceries was really nice because if let's say you're sick and you're like, I don't feel like driving while I'm like about to throw up. You just order some groceries, some medicine, whatever, right? Boom, shows up, you're good. But like the worst part is you order something and then they don't show up with the right stuff. Like
Yeah, that's
then you
frustrating.
then you have to contact support, and sometimes they're like, "Oh, you have to wait 24 hours before you." And I'm like, "Why do I have to wait 24 hours? You guys already messed up my order."
Uh,
So,
I feel like the last couple times we've gotten food delivered through one of those apps, it's been like mom and pop places. I feel like I trust that more than ordering like fast food or something because I don't know. Like I feel like half the time when you order from a mom and pop place, they're not gonna mess with the food because they don't even know what the hell it is. It's like a thing of ramen or something like that. You know how hard it would be to tamper with a thing of ramen without making a mess in a car? Like
yeah.
it's usually like full. You know what I mean? They fill that shit up to the brim. Um, but yeah, I don't trust people to not mess with my food. The prices are absurd. They just keep getting worse. Um, I hear that those food delivery people hate doing it. I don't think I've seen
Yeah.
anybody who says they like it. So I mean, they're doing it because they feel like they don't have another choice and they don't want to work a normal job. Like they'd rather be able to like clock in and clock out whenever they want. I mean, I could see if I was a single dude and I was like, I don't know, writing a book or some shit, and I'm like, I need to just pay rent. I would totally do something like that. Definitely not if I had a
Well,
Mustang,
I
but
heard that it doesn't even pay for your rent though. Like the amount of money you make is
I hear
so
you've got to
low.
work crazy. Like you got, it's one of those things where it's like, all right, for the next like week, to pay for my rent this month, for the next week, I'm gonna work like 16 hours a day
Well,
delivering food.
okay, would you rather be doing Uber Eats or actual like you're the Uber driver where you go and pick people up?
See, the thing about like Uber Eats is like they have like a distance limit. Like you can't order food from like 50 miles away.
Mm.
It just won't let you. But I've literally heard people say, like, I remember one time I got picked up at the airport here, and the guy was like, "Oh man, like it's that far of a drive," and I was like, "Do you want me to like cancel and get a different driver?" I guess it's fine. And I'm just like, I mean, if you're gonna be doing rideshare gig stuff, like, I would think that you would be happy that the ride. I mean, I remember telling her, I was like, "I'll leave you a tip." You know what I mean? Like, but you would think that they would want to make more money because the farther the ride is, usually the more money you make. You know
Mm.
what I mean? But I don't know, man. Every single time I've taken an Uber ride, it's those people are miserable. I was in California and this guy was like, he was telling me his life story while he was driving me to the freaking Blackhawk thing for the bike riders. And he was telling me this life story thing about how he fled Ukraine with his family because of the war there. And he's like, I do not understand this country. He's like, you come here. He's like, I love my country because there You live your life, you do a little work, but life is for life. He's like, here, everything is work. I buy this car. I have terrible credit. He's like, and now I am slave for this car. And I'm like, I mean, he's kind of got a point, but like, I mean, if you just come to the U.S. without a plan, of course you're gonna get like, I'm sure that immigrants get shafted like that all the time. They come here, oh yeah, America, you get this, like you could buy a car, you don't even have to put any money down, and it's like, yeah, here's this 10% interest rate because you literally don't have a credit score, you know,
Yeah.
like take that to me is sad, but I mean, like he just complained to you. He was like, I was like, so if that war ends, are you gonna go back? He's like, oh, of course. He's like, why do I want to work here and slave for a job? He's like, all these people driving around us, they are a slave to work. And it was like, I was like, well,
Well,
you are in California, where like literally people can't afford to like buy groceries, so
but
that's a little different.
I will say, like, at least he was like having a it wasn't like he was just
He
saying
was
his life's work.
ranting. He was ranting.
Was he?
Yeah, and I think because I listened, like he kept going. It was like a 30-minute drive, bro.
Okay, because he made it seem like you guys were just like chatting. I was like, oh, okay, it's cool. But see,
Well, he was like, well, I was wearing my flight suit, so he's like, oh, you are a pilot, and I'm like, no, I'm not a pilot. I used to be, I used to work on helicopters and fly, and he's like, oh, okay. He's like, so why you are wearing if you are no longer in military? And I'm like, I'm doing this thing for social media, like I make content, like I make videos for a living, and he's like, oh, that is good for you. He's like, I drive Uber. I'm like, yeah, I can
clearly,
see that. Yeah.
yeah.
And he goes, do you like living in the US? And I was like, I mean, yeah, like I feel like, like I'm very fortunate to have the gig that I do. Like my job doesn't really feel like a job, and this and that. And he's like, ah, yes. He's like, you're young, you're lucky. You like you have figured things out. He's like, me, I fled my country. And I'm like, where are you from? And he's like, the Ukraine. And I'm like, oh shit. And then it just like went down a rabbit hole. And the whole time it's like, this and that. And then he started like bad mouthing Putin, and I'm just like, yep, like, like when are we gonna get to this place? But I mean, any of that stuff just sounds like, I mean, every single one of those people I interact with seems like they're miserable. Honestly, you know what the gig is if you want to be a driver or something? Um, be a what do they call them? A chauffeur? What the people who drive
Yeah.
like important? Yeah, because when I went to go do the Extraction 2 thing in New York, I had a driver who like picked me up and took me to those things. That guy was so dope. He's like, you need some water, this and that. And he's like, you're going to the premiere thing, and I'm like, yeah, yeah. He's like, oh, cool, cool. Yeah, I do these things a lot, this and that. He's like, so what do you do? You do like social media? I'm like, yeah, I did this. I was in the military. He's like, oh, really? He's like, I was a police officer here in New York. Like this and that. He started telling me stories about 9/11. I was like, yo, this is like that guy genuinely seemed like he was trying to like make conversation because like that's like the courteous thing to do. But he was like totally happy. You could tell like this guy's getting paid well. I mean, he's like, yeah, I've driven
Oh,
around these people and
see,
that.
that's the thing. So I think really the distinction that I'm hearing there is like that Uber guy was like, yeah, this sucks. I don't really want to do this, but I have to because like how else am I gonna pay for this car? But with the chauffeur, it's like, hey, I'm happy. This is my job. I love it.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's definitely.
I think they
I
just
get
get
it.
they
Yeah.
get paid better too, and like they're getting work almost like contracted to them. Whereas with Uber and stuff like that, it's just like, I mean, dude, I can't imagine being an Uber driver and like, you're like, oh, here we go, Friday, Saturday night, gonna get a lot of drunks tonight. I hope they don't throw up in my
Well,
car, you
so
know?
so that's the thing though. So I feel like the requirements for getting a job as a chauffeur must be a lot stricter though, because
I mean, he was a cop, so I could
yeah,
see how like, he was like a prime candidate for it, but like, there was guys in the military who like, because I remember one of them was like, oh, I met Trump, and I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, my job was literally to drive people from the airport. Like he worked for the airport, and he just like drove people in this like nice
dude, he you know what?
sedan.
This random thing. My best friend Jacob, he actually met Kamala Harris. Like there's a picture in his house of him like shaking hands with her.
That's so
I
random.
was yeah, well, because it just made me think of that. But it like I
Makes you
haven't
feel like it's a small world, right? Like,
I haven't talked to him about it yet. But like it's kind of surreal to be like, dude, like my best friend has met the vice president. That's wild. Like, wow.
yeah. Well, when I met Chris Stuckman a couple weeks ago, I was like, dude, like, I, I literally, like, I told him, I was like, I probably would not be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for you. Like, you really did make me think that all this was possible, like content creation and filmmaking and just like being yourself. And he was like, "Oh, dude, like this, and that." And I was like, we stand there, we're taking pictures, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, it's just so surreal, like like all this time, and then here you are, And he's like, "Yeah, I know, like it is weird, huh? Like it really is a small world, man." And I think technology has really, I don't know, I think because people are glorified over the internet, it makes it seem like it's a bigger world than it is.
Yeah. Well, although I would say like I'm sure people when they meet enough famous people, they're like, oh, like everyone's just kind of a person. But there's some people who like straight up they when you meet them in person, it's like no, they're like still a celebrity no matter how many times I meet them. Like I bet if you
Yeah.
met Brad Pitt 8 times, it would still be just as cool every time. You know?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a difference between somebody being like so famous that like it's almost like they're living in a different world, like
Yeah.
Tom Cruise. That guy's living on a different planet. That guy
Oh
does
yeah.
not see like that guy definitely doesn't experience life like anybody else. You know what I mean? Like he's fucking Tom Cruise. Like, dude, if I served coffee to him, I'd be like, holy shit, dude, I served coffee to Tom Cruise. Like that'd make my day. You know what I mean? That'd make my week. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's weird, man. But that, like, fame and all that stuff is still something that like I have a hard time comprehending. People tell me I'm famous, and I'm like, maybe I was TikTok famous at one point, but I don't feel famous. I think it's like there's a difference between like people have seen your face and like you get paid millions of dollars to like do some crazy profession. That's different. You know what I mean? Like you're an artist. You're like a renowned artist. Like Brad Pitt, he's a renowned actor. You know what I mean? Like that guy. I mean, that's why I'm surprised when I see some of these like actors and stuff. They're like, "Yeah, I don't even have social media," and I'm like, they don't even have social media, and people are that aware of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That to me is like a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Like I like people say that I'm in like the middle of like C list to B list territory because of my following, like as an actor.
Hmm.
And I'm like, that's an interesting way to look at it. You know, I mean, when it comes to A-listers, there's they say there's only like a couple thousand of them. So
Dang.
there's like a couple thousand people who do like the majority of the acting in the acting world. Like, just see him over and over. Like, I mean, Glenn Powell's blowing up right now. That guy's in everything. Giancarlo Esposito. Holy
Yeah.
shit, that guy's in everything
I
now.
do feel a little bad that he's kind of getting typecasted, but
Definitely. He looks like he's like I'm curious to see how his role is in a new Captain America movie that's coming out, which is a great way to segue superhero talk into The Boys season 4 spoiler talk, because The Boys season 4 just ended. I don't think this is going to be a long topic. We are up on an hour, so we need to wrap it up soon. But if you have not seen The Boys season 4 or you haven't seen the finale yet, definitely like come back to this at some point. Final warning: we're going to be talking about spoilers. But what did you think of the finale?
um, honestly, I think it was kind of whatever up until like the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, and then it like to me it felt like the whole season was like this was the only reason why like we were doing this
Yeah,
season is to get to these like last 20 minutes.
yeah, and like I get it. You can't just get to that point without doing some of the things that were in there. But like I know they were. I don't remember who said it. They were kind of talking about that whole plot line earlier in the season with Huey's dad was like pointless.
I think it was one of the best parts
I
of the season.
I thought it
Personally.
was, but also it was like that probably could have happened at any other time. Because like what did that do for the rest of the season?
To me, it really felt like this season was all about splitting everybody up,
Yeah.
honestly. And I mean, just like Stranger Things, where like they split them up in fun ways. This time, it just felt like everybody's just got their own shit going on. I mean, Starlight's got her whole thing going on, which is crazy. Um, Literally everybody's got their own thing going on. Like people are like talking about bailing and all this stuff. To me, one of the most interesting things was A Train. I feel
Yes.
like he had a really interesting little
Well,
storyline this weekend
uh,
or this season
uh,
weekend.
so yeah, A Train honestly like has become one of my favorite characters in that whole show.
I don't know what his name is, but I think he's a good actor.
He's actually been in stuff before. Like there was some show that was on Cartoon Network that he was a part of, and I didn't realize that he was actually in it until someone pointed it out, and I was like, "Holy crap, this guy's been around for a while." Because that show
Oh, it
existed when
is
I was a
usually.
kid. So, I was like, okay, like now I know that he's doing more than just this show, or he's done more than just this show. Um, but like this season, he had a lot of development, like 100%. This season, the last season especially.
Yeah, the last two
So
seasons that I was like, bro, are they gonna kill him? Like it feels like he's
it
about to
got
die, you
yeah
know? And I thought so, but no, I would not be surprised if season 5 he'd make some kind of ultimate sacrifice or something, you know? Because it
yeah.
feels like that's how they're doing it. Um, there was a lot of weird stuff in this season too that just felt like it was kind of gimmicky, like especially like the whole thing at like the political party thing where like
Well, they had
Dewey's
a
like down there being tied up and stuff. That was really weird.
they had
Uh,
yeah, because it's
they were just
definitely
trying to
shock
top
factor.
that thing from last season, but
But so what's I don't know if you saw, but so the final episode had to do with an assassination attempt. So they had to
yeah,
put
there
a
was a warning.
they had to put a
Yeah,
warning, which I was like, what are the odds? Because you know what it reminds me of? Um, when it was Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I think that came out. When
yeah.
that came out, they had a whole vaccine plot line, and they had to remove that entire. There was like 2 episodes they removed
I
from the entire show.
I thought Falcon and the Winter Soldier was really solid, one of the better Marvel
But it
shows
was
for
too
Disney Plus.
short.
But you could tell that it felt like something was missing, and
Yeah,
it's literally because they had to remove all that stuff because they were worried about it being too
yeah.
controversial, you know. Which I wish they,
Release
I
the
don't know.
vaccine cut.
Yeah, release the vaccine cut. Oh man. But yeah, no, I think right now, if I were to rank the seasons, I would go with number one as my favorite, then number three. Because I thought season one just did such a good job at
Yeah. Well,
introducing you to the
it was
world.
a much different tone as well, different priorities for that.
You felt very
Yeah.
thrown into it, and like it was taking risks without knowing if they were gonna work, you know. And there was
Yeah.
something edgy about that. And then I remember season two being kind of forgettable. But
Yeah.
so I would go season one, season three. I thought season three was fantastic.
I would
And
say
then
season 4 than season 2.
I would say one, three, two, four.
You do 2-4, not 4-2. Interesting.
Yeah. Well,
'Cause
I thought this season just felt a little heavy-handed with the
because the thing is though,
commentary on the actual politics.
I don't remember anything from season 2, and I think this season I will definitely remember.
I think if I saw one of those little like 1 minute like recap things from season two, it would totally rejog my memory. Like, oh yeah, that happened that season and this and that. Like kind of like Stranger Things.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say Stranger Things has the same problem where it's like I think the only thing I remember from season 2 was like 11 went and found her sister.
Yeah. Yeah, because Stranger Things, I would say
When is the next season
I
coming
would
out for
say
that show?
they just confirmed it's coming out next year, which could mean
Ah,
December.
that's
But I mean,
so
they
awful.
literally just said they were officially halfway through filming this week, so they're not done anytime soon. They're
Yeah,
gonna be
but they're
filming for
dude,
another 3 4 months.
they're all gonna look like they're 30, bro. Like, Jesus
Yeah, well,
Christ.
I'm curious to see what kind of spin-offs they do because I'm trying to get cast in a spin-off. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
I'm
Netflix just expanded their studios out here. I'm right here, baby. Throw the Dorito in there.
well,
I'll get eaten by a Demogorgon.
I just I don't know because was it whichever season where they had the mall that
Three. So
yeah
I was gonna
3
say I was gonna say for me it's season four, then 1, then 3, then 2, but or 1 and 3 are so close to each other for me. I think the only thing that holds season 1 away from being the best, besides how epic season 4 felt, is just how low budget it is. Like you can just really see the budget.
Well,
But
season three is my favorite. That's how I feel about that.
that's fair. I felt like season 3, the tone shifted. It was almost like Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, where it was like,
Yes.
oh no, we're getting mature now, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And to me, there was, I don't know, all the mall stuff was really cool. But season 4 for me, it was like every episode was like a goddamn movie, and some
Yeah.
crazy shit
Well,
happened.
so
And
I
I
remember,
just
I watched
never
that.
seen anything like that from a TV show.
So it was when we were first moving me into an apartment over here, and so we were driving from Yuma to here, and so I had plenty of time to watch season four, and like just I was in the car doing nothing else but just watching the show. So I was able to fully enjoy it. And God, that season was crazy. Like it
Yeah,
really like I but I still think season 3 is the one that sticks in my head the most because it's just like there's so many moments in there and so many characters that are just I want to rewatch season 3, man.
dude, I want to rewatch the whole thing at some point.
Yeah, well, season
I'm
3
legitimately considering like if they come out with like a 4K box set of all 5 seasons, I might actually buy it.
season 3 that's the one that takes place like during the summer. And so like
Yeah,
yeah,
which
that
had really cool vibes to it. There was a lot
yeah,
of Terminator, like kind of like
yeah.
callbacks in there. But the other thing about Stranger Things is every single time a season has come out, like I've been at a interesting point in my life. Like season 1, I literally was like on Snapchat, like, yo, you guys have to watch Stranger Things. I'm telling you, this shit's gonna blow up someday. And literally, like, season 2 comes out, and like it's like the biggest show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. I felt like I was ahead of the curve. But I was in A school. I had literally just shown up for A school. Didn't have like homework or anything yet. Like I literally just unpacked my stuff and I just watched season 1 of Stranger Things. And I remember telling mom and dad, "You guys gotta watch this. This is really cool. It feels like Spielberg and stuff, you know." And okay, we'll check it out, you know. And then I was watching Better Call Saul because that was the first season of that had just come out too. Um, but yeah, I was in A school, which for you guys who don't know, that's the training I went to work on helicopters and fly. Like it was all aviation training. And so it was like being in a dorm room. I was like eating Little Caesars and watching Stranger Things. It was, the vibes were immaculate.
Little
And then
Caesars.
season two, I remember I think I turned 21 that year, and I was still living on my own in my apartment. And so I have like my little couch, and I have my TV, and I'm just like eating Little Caesars. I have a 6-pack of beer, and I'm just like binging season 2. And it was Halloween, so like it was Halloween in the show. It was Halloween in real life. It's just like the vibes were just perfect. Season 3,
God, I really need to rewatch the show, man.
season 3 came out right around the time where I was like, okay, if I'm gonna get out of the Coast Guard, I'm gonna do so in like 2 years. You know what I mean? Like 1 or 2 years, I'm gonna be out. And like I remember it was during summer break. I took time off, and like were you there? The whole, yeah, I think the whole
I think
family
so,
was
yeah.
there. So like our whole family, like my parents, my brother, I was our sister there too? I don't
Yeah,
remember
I
it
believe
super
so.
well. I think so. Was
I want to say I
anyways,
watched season 3 on my own though. I remember you guys were
yeah,
watching it.
I think you would like wake up and be like, yeah, I'm on this episode or whatever. But like we binged it as a family, and I don't know if you've ever binged a TV show as a family, but that's such a different vibe.
that sounds exactly like me. Where I just wake up in the middle of the day and I'm like, yeah, I'm on episode 6 or like,
Yeah, I would
Jesus,
be like,
man.
dude, did you see what happened? Like, I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't gotten there. Don't say anything. I don't want to hear anything. And then season 4, it was like the Rona had like kind of finally come to an end. Like things
Yeah,
were opening back up.
yeah,
And so I was like, I'm really gonna keep doing social media. Like it wasn't just like, oh, like you know, this little time where everything shut down, I'm gonna do this thing and then like nobody's gonna watch me anymore, and I have to get a real job. You know what I mean? Like it was a time of my life where I was like, okay, no, like I'm literally gonna keep making content until, like filmmaking for me is like a full-time thing, and here I am still doing it. But like, again, just like different points in my life where it's like it was the right time. You know what I mean? So I'm like, huh, what's gonna be going on when season 5 hits? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know,
World
but
War Three. No,
might be my favorite show. Might be my favorite show of all time. It's very nostalgic for me.
We're in the middle of like the zombie
Yeah, we're gonna be like,
apocalypse.
guys, did you see? We're going to war. Hey, shut up.
I'm
Everything's
on the
fine.
last episode. Don't
I
spoil
don't give a
anything.
shit.
No, you don't understand. We're
I'm
in the
gonna,
middle of a
I'm,
war.
I'm gonna dodge the draft so I can watch stage.
Oh
It's fine.
Jesus. You want to go ahead and talk about our movie recommendations for this week?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I think this episode's getting long, and I need to post on TikTok. So, my recommendation for this week, I was hoping to see Twisters before this, but with everything going on, I'm seeing it tomorrow with the boys. So next week I'll talk about Twisters, because people are saying it could be like blockbuster of the summer. Um, you can't see it right now, but above my golden play button, I have a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood poster. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is one of those movies that just, there's movies that I've watched throughout my life where it just goes, you should be making movies. You want to make movies. This is what you want to be doing. You know what I mean? Like, look how cool it is to like just tell the story that you want, and like you could bring people into your little world, and you go on this little ride, and then it ends, and it's like, huh, that was fun to step in that world for a little bit. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie, and I've noticed that over time more and more people are saying that. And I think it's because you feel so in it. I think it's the closest thing Tarantino's made to a hangout movie. It really does feel like you're just, I mean, they're literally like hanging out and watching Leonardo DiCaprio's acting roles and stuff on the TV, and like drinking beer and smoking cigarettes. Like, it's literally like
You're literally
a
watching.
vibe.
You're watching actors act like
Pretend to be actors. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it is one of those movies where like they've talked about releasing like an extended cut on Netflix, and I'm like,
I would love
yes,
that.
please. I would love to see another hour with these characters. And I'll admit, it's probably not for everybody. Some people might think it's a little slow if you're used to watching like really fast-paced stuff. But if you like movies, you're interested in how movies are made, or you're just like really into the 60s and like how things were and like pop culture and stuff, highly recommend Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And also, I mean, watching Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt act together is just
They're a great duo for
it,
sure. Yeah.
one of my favorite duos of all time, probably.
Yeah.
That movie, them in that movie. What's
Um,
yours?
so I'm gonna recommend The Social Network. I know it's not a new movie, but I just honestly like I think about that movie a lot because it really does get you into the mindset of like this is what it's like to be on the ground floor of something that's big, and it's to me it's like kind of it gives you both inspiration and teaches you some lessons about like hey like you can make something big, but also if you do get big, don't forget people that helped you out along the way because one, you know, if they're not around anymore, you're kind of screwed if they did help you. But also, I mean, if it gets really bad, then it might get litigious. They might come after you for that. So like treat those people who helped you out really nicely, Like make sure that they are included in what you're doing and you can both reap the benefits of the stuff that you've done.
Yeah, the couple things I want to say to comment on about the Social Network that I think people don't think about. Um, One, it's David Fincher. So same guy who made Fight Club and Gone Girl and like all these fantastic films, or just really well executed films. A lot of people, and I've heard this more over the years, consider it a perfect film, and I think I can see why. I mean, it's just The whole thing is just paced really well. Aaron Sorkin wrote it, and he's really known for his dialogue. And if you watch it and pay attention to the dialogue, you'll see why. He writes his dialogue almost like it's a piece of music, like it hits like beats and stuff, and it's just like has this cadence where it just keeps going. And every like, it's kind of, some people call it a gimmick, but like Aaron Sorkin likes to write his characters in a way that like every person seems like they're the smartest person in the world, but it makes for really interesting conversations. And I think David Fincher is really good at adapting that to the screen. And I think they're actually talking about making a spiritual sequel to The Social Network. And I don't know how that's going to work, but Aaron Sorkin said he's writing it, and I hope David Fincher directs it.
Oh, dude,
David Fincher is one of my favorite directors.
I would love if it's about Twitter.
No, I think it literally is going to be like more Mark Zuckerberg stuff and like maybe trial stuff with all that stuff that happened. You know, the privacy stuff.
Dude, so
that would be really
it
interesting.
could be like it's like the stuff, the part of Oppenheimer where they're like dealing with like,
yeah,
that would be sick.
the legal court stuff. Yeah, and but the other thing is, it's PG-13.
Is it? They
The
drop an F bomb in
network-
there.
Well, you're allowed to do one F-bomb. Some movies get away with two, but
Huh.
for a PG-13 movie, it's very mature, and like
Yeah.
you would not be able to tell, honestly. Like I wasn't able to tell until I looked it up. But yeah, no. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, fantastic 3-hour movie. Social Network, really solid. Honestly, I agree. I think Social Network's a perfect film. 2 hours, PG-13, so anybody can watch it basically. Really engaging dialogue. Both are pretty dialogue heavy.
Yes.
I looked it up. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is streaming on Hulu at the moment for those who want to watch it, and The Social Network is on Max.
Oh.
So,
okay.
yeah, there you go. You can watch both of those included in your subscriptions. Highly recommend them. I don't think you'll be disappointed with either of them unless you are, I don't know,
Lame.
supposed to be watching Coco Melon instead. Oh.
Coco.
Danny, I'm 5, and I didn't understand the movie.
What even is Coco Melon? I don't understand. Like, what is Coco Melon? Just like, is it like a?
It's literally like babies. Like they're just, it's a show about babies.
Coco Melon.
But anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for this week. Congratulations to our giveaway winners. Go support the Patreon. It seriously means a lot to us. I think we're gonna start maybe taking questions from the Patreon. So if you want to hear your question answered on the Patreon, I'll be posting about it this week. In the Patreon, we'll answer a couple questions, use them as topics. So that'll be interesting. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great week. And that's it. Take care. Use G Fuel code DannyD.
Bye.